Hi everyone, my name is Shauna in case you don't know, and welcome back to another video. I recently finished watching all of the Attack on Titan OVAs, and so I wanted to rank them all for you and give sort of my thoughts on all of them. The Attack on Titan OVAs are very different from other OVAs that I've seen because there's a few episodes that provide a lot of really good prequel background information. There's one that's just silly and goofy, and then there is a few that just feel sort of pointless, and so it's a bit of a mixed bag. So I wanted to rank all of them and sort of give you my thoughts on them. And to be clear, I watched all of these after watching, of course, the main series, but if you look up the order of when to watch these, you can watch some of these throughout the main series, and you could also watch the prequel stuff before you actually watch the main series depending on what you're into. So I'm gonna start from the bottom and go to the top. The bottom ones are gonna be the Lost Girls ones. So the Annie ones are definitely worse than the Mikasa one. There's 3 episodes in Lost Girls. The Annie ones is basically she has a day off of work, and in order to get someone to fill her shift the next day, she has to go complete this mission to solve this missing person case, and a lot of it just was so boring. It's literally just Annie going around town trying to solve a missing person case. Honestly, if it was in a different series it might work, but a lot of the characters, I feel like Annie in particular, are very much like action, 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 especially in the world that you get. So to have one that's sort of like nothing to do with the Titans, nothing to do with action or anything like that, was sort of dull. I also think Annie thrives most in the series with her interactions with other characters. Like, I think the reason that I like her so much in the main series is because of her interactions, for example, with Armin, and so I didn't really like 2 solo episodes focusing on her. The Mikasa episode was definitely a lot better. This is the 3rd one, so if you're watching them in the order that are on Crunchyroll, the Mikasa episode will be listed as the last one. It was definitely a little better. It messes with timelines a little bit and toys around with the idea of a character having a fixed fate, is what I'll say, and that was a little bit more interesting. But because of the changes that were made to the timeline, Mikasa looked like a little pathetic, pining over Eren, and it was really bugging me because in the main series you're pining and desperate need to save him and be there for him. I guess you can somewhat justify it by the Titans and stuff, but I didn't really see why she would have that extreme desire to be with him and everything in this world in which it's a different timeline and stuff. I don't know if I'm making any sense. Mikasa is a strong character in the main series, but I think if you take her out of those high stakes situations and have her in low stakes situations where she's still obsessed with Eren, she definitely loses a lot of her independence and strength that makes everyone admire her. The next one on the list that is right up above Lost Girls is Distress. Distress is just sort of I don't know, it's sort of a mini episode that could have been included in the main series if they felt like it. It's just a little side quest. It honestly feels like just another episode in the series, which is fine. It's nothing too special, but it is just another little mission with the Survey Corps. So you get to see the Survey Corps interact more, and it's just you get to see how they deal with the conflict. I felt like it could have been added in with the main series if they felt like it, but I don't know. I felt like it was decent, but it wasn't anything super amazing that added anything to the series. It literally just felt like an additional episode that was you could include it in the main series if you want to, but you don't have to. So yeah, that's basically my thoughts on Distress. The one above that is A Sudden Visitor. A Sudden Visitor is a very unique one because it is just straight up funny, and there is some absurd sequences in there, and it is just there to be funny, and I liked that about it, especially because the series is so dark and heavy. So to have one that's just so light and funny, I thought that that one was a interesting one to have in here. Definitely not the vibe for everyone, and I would understand why people wouldn't like this one. However, in terms of the OVAs and the uniqueness and stuff, this was definitely the most unique OVA. Right above that, I'm putting No Regrets. No Regrets is 2 episodes, and it focuses on Levi's backstory. So I know why a lot of people would probably put this one as their first. Levi is everyone's favorite character. He isn't my favorite character, if I'm being honest. He isn't even in the top 5, probably not even top 10, even though I do want to cosplay him, just because I could easily use this wig for Zane from Love and Deep Space. I'm thinking about doing that. But anyways, I understand why people really love No Regrets. I think No Regrets was decent. I did like getting to see Levi's backstory, especially because you get to see the underground and what it's under there. I think that the other 2 main characters besides Levi in these OVAs were really well written. They were super interesting characters. So No Regrets was really, really good. I just don't think it's my favorite of the OVAs because I think my favorite is Ilse's Notebook. Ilse's Notebook for me was a really, really interesting one because it explores the Titans more, and it explores sort of their motivations and their habits, and it explores why Hanji is allowed to do the different tests on the Titans that they're allowed to do throughout the series. So this one is another prequel one. I think that it's just very unique in its exploration of Titans and how Titans actually work. And I sort of wish that this one would have been included in the main series just because you can understand Titans a lot better and you can see how Titans aren't exactly just these like basically giant zombie type things. You get to see that they have like motivation behind it and stuff, and I thought that that was really interesting. So that was my ranking of the 8 OVA episodes. If you've seen all the OVAs and you have a favorite, feel free to leave it down in the comment section below. I'm curious what everyone's favorite is. I think for me, I'm very much a completionist, so I don't like regret having watched all of these, but Distress and Lost Girls for me just didn't like add anything. So if you are gonna like pick and choose what OVAs you watch A Sun and Visitor, No Regrets, and Ilse's Notebook. I just don't think that Lost Girls and Distress added that much. I also thought that Lost Girls would be a very different, I don't know. I was looking forward to Lost Girls because I was like, girl power, we're gonna get girl power episodes, and then I watched them and I'm like, these aren't doing anything for me. And then I was like, I don't know, it just is what it is. I'm a completionist, so I have to finish watching them. I upload one longer video on my YouTube channel every single week, so feel free to stick around for that video next week. And on the days I'm not uploading longer videos, I'm uploading my cosplays over on my YouTube shorts. So if you want to see any of my cosplays, feel free to go over and check out my cosplays. I do cosplay from Attack on Titan. I have done the first 3 season Mikasa look, where she has her Survey Corps look, and I have also done Armin, but in the final season look. I want to do more at some point. I do have some plans in the works for some, but who knows when I'll get around to those. So I hope all of you are having a great week, and I'll see all of you in my next video. Till next time, everyone. Goodbye.